You have a job, I have a job. There are so many pieces of media that no one wants to waste their time on a mediocre one. And there's so many fantastic pieces of media that are a definite not waste of time that you could see instead. I loved The Last Jedi so much and have so little trust in J.J. Abrams to do anything that I did not even watch the 9th movie. I'm not gonna go sit through another loud, dumb Star Wars movie while I haven't even seen a single episode of Babylon 5. But I kept hearing that The Mandalorian is really good. I didn't really hear any, reasons that would interest me in it, but I did watch it, and we're gonna talk about the first 3 episodes and how they're really good and full of solid themes and fantastic symbolism. Exciting, good. Hopefully this helps you think about the show in a new way, and let's cut to the chase. It's all about the Baby Yoda. Star Wars is all about connection. You could say, no, Ray, Star Wars is about being a space opera. Well, that's not what an about is. Space opera is space opera. The shape of the movie is ice cream. And what it is about is chocolate, connection, the Force. I'm probably not going to dig up the clip from A New Hope where Obi-Wan talks about the Force and how it is connection. It runs through us. All living things are a part of the Force, and the Force is a part of all living things. Rocks, stones, non-living things, everything in the universe. It's some real hippy-dippy shit. It's hokey zen stuff, and I love it. In A New Hope, Luke has to trust his feelings, the zen, hokey, hippy-dippy part of the movie, over technology, the spacecraft part of the movie, in order to blow up the Death Star. In A New Hope, the only thing the Force does is connect you to other stuff. It's the feeling of how things go on. Luke feels where the lasers are going to be, so he's able to block them with the lightsaber. Luke feels where the hole is in the Death Star to blow it up. It's all about feelings. The space wizard Obi-Wan Kenobi connects to the stormtroopers and tells them these aren't the droids you're looking for. He's able to sneak through the Death Star by himself and do a thing. In The Empire Strikes Back, the Force is expanded to, if you know where that rock is, you can pick it up, or you can pick up that spaceship. It doesn't matter because you can use the Force to do it. The Force is a part of everything, including your big dumb spaceship. In The Empire Strikes Back, Luke trusts his connection, his feelings to his friends over the advice of the vindictive frogman. The same vindictive frogman who is wrong as long as alive he is. Then the connection, the relationship between Luke and Darth Vader changes. The bad guy's relationship changes because it is complicated by being Luke's father. And in Return of the Jedi, Luke uses his connection to his father to turn him back to the good side. He trusts in the light that his father has to bring him back and to have his father redeem himself. Luke also trusts his friends to save themselves, to make sure they get to safety, and his friends trust a bunch of hippy-dippy, nature-loving teddy bears to defeat the technological empire. The prequels are all about how the sexless, isolated, weird, friendless, family-abandoning Jedi fuck up the universe by being not connected enough to things. Though this message is told poorly in everything in the prequels are kind of bad and done poorly, and the message is probably clear, paradoxically, in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, oddly enough. But the message superbly told in The Last Jedi, because Luke is wrong for doubting the light, his connection to his nephew. If he had enough faith in his nephew as he did with his father, things would not have turned so wrong. But then Luke doubles down on this error by disconnecting from the Force itself and all of his friends and all of the struggles that happen in the universe. Finn learns about the value of his own life from his connection to Rose, which is also the same lesson that Rose learns, but more in a have confidence, you deserve to do things kind of way. From what I've learned, this character trait does not stick with her through The Last Jedi. Or what is it? The Return of the Tross? I don't know. The JJ, however. Rose learns that you can't help people if you don't seize on that connection. And Poe learns the value of the lives of the people in the rebellion. And the people in the universe.
Part 1. Setup.
The Mandalorian continues with this theme beautifully as he learns about his connection to other people. The setup shows us the Mandalorian is very good at using tactics, following codes, following the rules in order to bring in people. He's very observant and is able to sort through threats as he needs to. Mando kills some dudes, he doesn't trust droids, he only says what's important, and once he is paid, a portion of everything he makes goes to the Mandalorian cause. We see the flashbacks of the Mandalorian's life as the religious armor strikes out his new armor, his new weapons. And we see what the Mandalorian is actually protecting himself from. It's the past and his family's being attacked by droids.
Part 2. Guns are my religion.
I saw a few posts with these words from the Mandalorian, though a lot of the posts skipped the words, a part of. Guns are a part of my religion. And they definitely skipped the context where Mando says this right after a scene where guns explicitly did not work or solve his problem, and is right before a scene where guns will not work or solve his problem. And it is said during a scene where guns do not solve his problem and he has to immediately leave his guns behind in order to get forward to solving and having conflict resolved for him. And from that minimalist use, guns are part of my religion, it made me think that this show was going to be dumb, and I put off watching it. But the show is much smarter than that. The Mandalorian culture, as it is expressed and displayed in the show, is one of paranoia and disconnection. The tenets of the religion that we know are a Mandalorian never removes their helmet. There's something about armors and weapons being important. There's only one Mandalorian that is supposed to be out and working at a time, and that Mandalorian's pay goes to support the Mandalorian cause, the other Mandalorian, the Mandalorian Collective. In the flashbacks, we see the Mandalorian and his parents unhelmeted, vulnerable, at complete mercy of unfeeling droids, going through subroutines, murdering everyone that they can. Now, thematically, whether Mando the Mandalorian is a Mandalorian at birth or was adopted after this attack does not matter. Either fact can hold true, and still the significance of Mando's disconnection and defensiveness is evident in the story, and is evident in how it is told. See, if his parents were Mandalorians, and after the attack, their religion adopted a hardcore smithing aspect and this defensive idea of we always wear helmets now in case we get bombed, or the case that Mando joined a religion and a culture where he's able to hide from his trauma and paranoia of future trauma behind wearing armor, both are significant in how the show expresses and writes itself. As a world is written, it is eternally immutable and changeable by the writer, and the themes put down by the writer are that Mando exercises his religion as a form of his trauma, to protect himself from future trauma, an expression of past trauma. Religions are big, expansive lore things, and often they're internally contradictory. So the things that you choose to pick out and follow in your religion are important to you and how you function in your society. We see the parts of his religion that matter to Mando in his actions.
Part 3. The Code of the Bounty Hunter.
Droid IG-88, I think that's the name. I tried to look it up, but I'm sort of lazy. He's the bounty hunter droid that we see in episode 1 in The Mandalorian, and he shoots a lot of people all the time because he has a little bunch of cameras and he's all shooty. This droid also has a lot less personality than most droids we see in Star Wars. This character is meant to learn a contrast between how Mando behaves and what he is about to learn. Similar to the care that Mando shows for orphans above and beyond what his religion mandates. And then the tenderness that he shows when trying to learn how to ride a beast in the next episode IG-88 shows that Mando isn't ruled by these codes. Mando fights for his brethren and orphans, and it's why he tolerates the codes. Mando fights for his brethren and orphans, and that's why he puts up with any of these codes at all. Outside his general defensiveness. The pivotal moment for the first episode is what sets the themes in stone for the rest of the series. And I'm not talking about the big dumb gunfight. The big dumb gunfight is set up for the actual pivotal moment, to show that connections are more important than rules. People over codes. Chodes? Chodes over code. Wait. Cohorts over codes. Kids over codes. Rumblers over rules. Lackeys over laws. People over postulates. IG-88 stands for purely following the rules. He's more of a robot than any other droid in Star Wars. He does exactly what his rules dictate for him to do. The setup is comical in that several times IG-88 tries to blow himself up because possibly they cannot win their fight. IG-88 is able to team up with Mando because Mando quotes a rule to him and IG-88 accepts it as something that he's supposed to do. And when those rules dictate to the robot that he has to kill the child, Mando kills IG-88. Because Mando is killing the rules in this action, and it also reflects Mando's choice come episode 3 of the series, and I'm guessing a lot more of the series too. I've only seen the first 3 episodes. This is when I wrote this. The message is Mando will kill the code, break the rules in order to help the helpless. Connection over codes.
Part 4. Baby Yoda! Baby Yoda!
Baby Yoda is the center of the show, the message of the show. Baby Yoda is an embodiment of the Force and of connection in the most fragile and stark way possible. Remember, in Star Wars, the Force is a connection to nature and each other. In protecting Baby Yoda, Mando protects his connection to the Force, to other people. A Star War is like any other conflict. It will generate victims and trauma like a car generates exhaust. Experiencing large amounts of tragedy can desensitize people to it. Mando is a prime candidate for this desensing because there's been a lot of trauma that he's gone through. And we can tell in certain parts of the show that Mando is actually pretty jaded in several ways. Mando grabs a bail jumper. He doesn't listen to their excuses. He throws them in the carbonizer. That's what it's called. I don't care. A very common route after coming through a tragedy is competition. I survived this, so other people should be able to survive things that are just as bad. My thing was worse than your thing. I'm winning this oppression Olympics. My oppression is worse than yours, so you should toughen up. It means I'm tougher. The way we can see this most in our society is if someone complains about their work hours or they're being worked too hard or they're very sore, somebody else has worked more hours and will scold them for even complaining, even bringing this into the social sphere. Though instead, they could have performed empathy. Yeah, working sucks. I'm sorry that you're tired. I wish you had more time to spend with your family. I wish that too all the time. In several ways, we are specifically conditioned not to feel that connection, that empathy with people in this specific way. Mando is not jaded about orphans. Caring about children is one of his founding character traits. His compassion and empathy for foundlings are one of the first solid lines he says, and the most vulnerable thing he can express, and he expresses it several times. It's said 3 times in the episode. First Mando, then the Armorer, and then Mando again. It's what drives him, it's what makes him feel better, it's how he deals with his pain. We can each use empathy to deal with our own pain. One of the reasons why we might jump down each other's throats for not going through as much trauma as we did is that we haven't dealt with that pain. We haven't dealt with the pain of not being with our families, of working too hard. A deeper understanding of our pain and each other's pain is a way to draw closer together and empathize and make our connections stronger. Feel that force in real life. Always have a stronger connection to those we share in this human experience.
Part 5. Part 5. Part 5. Part 5. Part 5. A good religion
is one that changes with the times. Mando is the only one of his religion that's allowed to surface, to be in public in order to do work. Several people in his religion use this as an opportunity to scrutinize his actions. When Mando does work for the Empire, the forces that tried and did kill a majority of their culture, that exercised a genocide against the Mandalorians and against several peoples in Star Wars, those tensions are felt in the show and expressed directly with conflict. There are parts of every religion that you just obey, and then there are the parts that you feel. When the Mandalorian turns over Baby Yoda, everything about this action feels wrong. And it feels wrong despite how well Mando follows the rules. The rules of his religion, the rules of bounty hunting, and when he comes into contact with this, the religion doesn't necessarily back him up. It reflects his sour feelings. His internal conflict of what to do is expressed with his brothers and sisters, also having a conflict with his actions. Mando breaks the rules when he attacks the Imperial forces, the encampment in the building. He thinks he's abandoning his religion and the codes. He thinks he has to fight off every contact, every friend he's ever made, and for a while, he does. Until the religion changes, the religion gives way. The rest of the Mandalorians come to back up his actions. There's a sky full of armored men in jetpacks shooting laser guns. Mando learns an aspect of his religion that he didn't practice before because he was a loner. The unimportant things are the armor, the guns, the rules, doing what you're told. And the important things are the connection to his fellow Mandalorians and to orphans. And we can learn to also exercise that connection. It is our connection to one another that is important. Not the rules, not the laws, not society as it is perceived and continued today. And if something in society goes against those connections, then maybe there should be a bit of conflict. These themes and symbols are evident in the first episode of The Mandalorian, and I'm guessing in the rest of the show, because that's how symbols and themes work. And I would be very pleased if something in this video spoke to you. If you feel a little connected to me, leave a comment. Tell me about what you thought about symbolism, how much you liked The Mandalorian, how much you love Star Wars. If you've thought about this theme of connection and the Force before, I would love to hear about it. If you like the video, it will help it and more people will be able to see it. I can connect to more people. And if you want to support more of my videos, I, like everyone else ever, has a Patreon because this is hard and takes time, and I've been yabbering for an hour. And it's probably going to take at least another hour to edit this, so I love you.